Have you ever felt like no matter how much you give, some people just take and take, never changing, never growing, never appreciating? You try to help, but it feels like pouring water into a bottomless pit. And when you finally step back, they make you feel guilty for stopping. Why does this happen? Why do some people drain us emotionally, mentally, and even financially, yet never seem to improve? The truth is, not everyone deserves your help. And understanding who to stop helping isn't selfish, it's necessary. Because helping the wrong people doesn't just waste your energy, it weakens you. It turns kindness into exhaustion and compassion into resentment. And here's the real kicker. The people who don't deserve your help will never admit it. They'll make you believe you're the bad guy. But today we're breaking that illusion. We're diving into the 10 types of people you should never help, backed by wisdom from Stoic philosophy and human psychology. And trust me, the last one will change how you see relationships forever. So, let's get into it. 1. The bottomless pit. Some people don't want help, they want a crutch. No matter how much time, energy, or advice you give them, it's never enough. They always need more support, more guidance, more of your effort to fix the same problems they keep repeating, and you've probably met this kind of person. The friend who always needs saving but never changes. The relative who constantly complains about their situation yet never takes action. The coworker who asks for advice but ignores every suggestion only to come back with the same issue later. Helping them feels like trying to fill a glass that has a crack at the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it keeps leaking out. And eventually, you're left drained, exhausted, and questioning why you even tried in the first place. But here's the harsh reality. It's not because you didn't help enough. It's because they don't actually want to be helped. Some people are addicted to their own misery. They thrive on being the victim. Their struggles aren't a phase, they're a lifestyle. And your kindness? To them, it's just fuel to keep going in circles. You offer solutions, they reject them. You give them resources, they ignore them. You sacrifice your time, yet nothing ever improves. It's not that they can't change, it's that they won't. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Being a good person doesn't mean giving endlessly to those who refuse to grow. True wisdom is knowing when to walk away. Because the more you give to the wrong people, the less you have for those who actually deserve it. So ask yourself, am I helping them grow or just enabling their cycle? Because if you're always there to catch them when they fall, they'll never learn how to stand on their own. And if you think that's bad, the next type of person is even worse. They don't just take your help, they believe they deserve it. 2. The entitled. There's a dangerous kind of person you'll encounter in life. One who doesn't just take your help, but expects it. They act as if the world owes them something, as if your time, effort, and kindness are obligations rather than gifts. You might recognize them in the friend who always assumes you'll cover the bill, but never offers to return the favor. The family member who only calls when they need something. The coworker who expects you to pick up their slack without so much as a thank you. Helping these people feels different. It doesn't feel like kindness, it feels like servitude. You don't feel appreciated. You feel used. And the worst part? If you ever say no, they act offended. They make you feel guilty, like you're selfish for not dropping everything for them. They'll say things like, "I thought we were close. After everything I've done for you? Wow, I didn't think you were that kind of person." But here's the truth, you don't owe anyone your energy just because they expect it. Entitlement is a toxic mindset. It convinces people that others exist to serve them, that relationships are one-sided, and that they should receive without ever giving back. And if you continue to feed into this, you're not helping, you're reinforcing their delusion. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And when you surround yourself with entitled people, your thoughts become polluted with guilt, frustration, and exhaustion. Because here's what happens when you constantly help the entitled, they never appreciate it. No matter what you do, it's never enough. They'll always want more. They take advantage of your kindness. The more you give, the more they'll demand. It's a cycle that never ends. They drain you emotionally, mentally, even financially. They'll take everything you offer without a second thought. So ask yourself, am I helping someone who truly needs it? Or am I just feeding someone's entitlement? Because here's the harsh reality. When you stop giving, the entitled will do one of two things. They'll guilt trip you and try to manipulate you into helping them again. They'll move on to someone else who will. And if someone only values you for what you can do for them, they never truly valued you in the first place. But some people take this even further. They don't just feel entitled to your help. They feel entitled to your life. And that's where things get truly dangerous. 3. The emotional manipulator. Some people don't ask for help. They demand it. Wrapped in guilt, wrapped in obligation, wrapped in a carefully constructed emotional trap. They don't say, "Can you help me?" Instead, they say, "If you really cared about me, you'd do this. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me? I guess I can't count on you like I thought I could." Suddenly, it's not about their problem anymore. It's about you being a bad person if you don't comply. And here's the dangerous part. These people know exactly what they're doing. They study your kindness, your empathy, your soft spots. They know what words will make you feel guilty, what phrases will make you doubt yourself. They manipulate your emotions not because they need help, but because they want control. And if you don't recognize this pattern, you'll fall for it. Again and again. Maybe it's the friend who only reaches out when they need a favor but disappears when you need one. Maybe it's the family member who constantly reminds you of all the things they've done for you, just to make sure you owe them. Maybe it's the partner who plays the victim every time you set a boundary, making you feel guilty for protecting yourself. This isn't help. This is emotional extortion. And the more you give in, the worse it gets. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been." Emotional manipulators want you to feel harmed. They want you to feel like you owe them something. But the moment you stop reacting, the moment you refuse to be controlled, their power disappears. Here's how to break free. Recognize the pattern. If someone only reaches out when they need something, pay attention. Stop explaining yourself. The more you justify why you can't help, the more they'll twist your words. Let go of guilt. You are not responsible for fixing people who manipulate you. Because the sad truth is, manipulators don't change. They just move on to the next person they can control. And once you stop playing their game, you'll see exactly how little they actually cared about you. But what happens when someone manipulates you, not emotionally, but with lies? What happens when the person you're helping isn't just taking advantage of you, but actively deceiving you? That's when you meet the next type. And trust me, they're even worse. 4. The master of lies. Some people don't just take advantage of your kindness, they weaponize it. They lie, manipulate, and twist the truth to make sure you keep helping them, even when they don't deserve it. You've met them before. The friend who always has a new excuse for why they need money, but somehow their problems never get solved. The coworker who spins a sob story to get you to cover for them, only for you to realize later that they were never in trouble to begin with. The relative who plays the victim to keep you wrapped around their finger, always making you feel like you owe them something. Lies, excuses, half-truths, always just enough to make you hesitate, to make you doubt yourself. Maybe they really are struggling. What if I'm being too harsh? Am I a bad person for saying no? But here's what you need to understand. The moment you catch someone lying to get your help, you're not dealing with a helpless person anymore. You're dealing with a manipulator. And the worst part? They know you're kind. They know you're generous. That's exactly why they picked you. Because they count on the fact that you'll believe their stories, that you'll hesitate just long enough for them to get what they want. Seneca once said, "He who does not prevent a crime, when he can, encourages it." And when you continue to help liars, you're not just enabling their behavior, you're encouraging it. You're teaching them that deception works, that they can keep using you, and that your kindness is a resource they can exploit. So how do you stop being fooled? Trust patterns, not words. If someone keeps getting into the same emergency over and over again, It's not bad luck. It's a pattern. Watch their actions. If their stories never add up, if they keep making the same promises but never change, it's a red flag. Test their reaction. The moment you stop helping, do they get angry? Defensive? Do they start guilt-tripping you? That tells you everything you need to know. Because once a liar realizes they can't fool you anymore, they won't try to change. They'll just move on to their next target. But sometimes the people you need to stop helping aren't just lying to you. They're lying to themselves. They create their own problems, refuse to fix them, and then expect you to clean up the mess. And that's when you meet the next type. And trust me, they'll drain you faster than anyone else. 5. The self-destructive. Some people don't need your help. They need a wake-up call. But no matter how much you try to warn them, guide them, or pull them back from disaster, they won't listen. You've seen it before. The friend who keeps getting into toxic relationships but never learns from them. The sibling who spends recklessly and always ends up broke, yet refuses to budget. The coworker who keeps making the same career mistakes but blames everyone else. You offer advice, they ignore it. You bail them out, they repeat the same cycle. You try to help them grow, but they choose to stay stuck, and every time they come back to you, expecting you to fix it, expecting you to clean up their mess, expecting you to do the work they refuse to do. At what point do you realize you're not helping them? You're just delaying the consequences of their own actions. Seneca once said, "A ship should not ride on a single anchor, nor life on a single hope." But the self-destructive person clings to one thing, the idea that someone else will always save them. And if that person is you, then you've become their safety net. But here's the brutal truth. Some people need to hit rock bottom before they wake up. They need to feel the full weight of their decisions. They need to face the storm they created, because if you keep shielding them, they will never change. So what should you do? Stop cleaning up their mess. Let them deal with the consequences. Don't offer advice they won't take. If they don't want to change, don't waste your breath. Protect your own energy. Just because they refuse to save themselves doesn't mean you have to go down with them. Because if you don't draw the line, one day you'll look around and realize you've spent years trying to save someone who never even wanted to be saved. And the saddest part? Some people pretend they want to change just to keep you around. They make promises, they swear they'll do better, but deep down, they have no intention of ever improving. And that's where things get even worse. Let's talk about the next type, the ones who string you along with false hope, knowing full well they'll never change. 6. The false promisor. Some people don't ask for your help because they want to change. They ask for your help because they want you to believe they will. They say all the right things, they nod at your advice, they swear this time is different. I know I messed up before, but I promise I'll change. Just give me one more chance, I won't waste it. I just need a little support. After this, I'll be on my feet. But weeks go by, months, maybe even years, and nothing changes. Because here's the truth. Some people don't want to improve. They just want you to believe they will, so you keep helping them, so you keep giving them money, time, advice, energy, without ever holding them accountable. You might recognize them in the friend who always talks about getting their life together, but never takes action. The coworker who promises they'll do better, but keeps making the same excuses. The family member who swears they'll fix their situation, yet somehow they're always back at square one. Helping them feels like watching a movie that never ends, the same problems, the same apologies, the same cycle of empty promises. And the worst part? They know what they're doing. They've learned that if they say the right things, you'll keep giving them chances. They don't actually need to change. They just need to convince you that they will. People who make false promises aren't necessarily evil, but they are comfortable. Comfortable in their bad habits. Comfortable in their lack of accountability. Comfortable knowing that as long as they say what you want to hear, they'll never have to put in real effort. It's a survival mechanism. They manipulate your hope, because hope is powerful. You want to believe in them. You want to see them succeed. You want to think your help is making a difference. But hope can be a prison. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life waiting for someone to change. while they keep making excuses. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." And that's the key. Real change isn't spoken, it's proven. If someone truly wants to change, they won't have to convince you. Their actions will. So how do you stop falling for empty promises? Stop believing words. Watch actions. If someone keeps saying they'll change but never does, trust what you see, not what you hear. Give conditions, not unlimited chances. Instead of, "I trust you," say, "Show me." Give clear expectations, and if they don't follow through, walk away. Detach from the fantasy. Accept that some people will never change, no matter how much you want them to. Because at the end of the day, your time and energy are limited. Don't waste them on someone who talks about change but never lives it. And if you think false promises are bad, wait until you meet the next type. Because some people don't just waste your time, they sabotage your success, all while pretending to support you. 7. The Secret Saboteur. Some people don't need your help. They need you to stay stuck. They act like they support you. They smile in your face. They nod when you share your goals, your dreams, your ambitions. But behind the scenes, they pull you back. You tell them you want to start a new career and they say, "Are you sure? That sounds really risky." You talk about improving your life and they say, "Don't overthink it. Just enjoy life and stop stressing." You share your wins and suddenly they're distant. They change the subject. They downplay your success. These are the people who pretend to be in your corner but secretly hope you fail. Why? Because if you grow, they'll be left behind. If you succeed, they'll feel smaller. If you prove that change is possible, they'll have to confront their own lack of effort. And that terrifies them. People sabotage others out of insecurity. They see your growth as a mirror reflecting what they could be but aren't. Instead of improving themselves, they choose the easier path, keeping you from rising higher. They do it subtly too, not through obvious negativity, but through little comments that plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Disguised discouragement. They act like they're giving you realistic advice, but it's just negativity in disguise. Guilt tripping. They make you feel bad for focusing on yourself. Fake support. They praise you when you fail, but go silent when you succeed. And if you're not careful, you'll start questioning yourself. You'll shrink your dreams, you'll hesitate on your goals, and slowly, without even realizing it, you'll stay exactly where they want you, stuck, small, stagnant. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know the truth." And the truth is, if someone isn't genuinely happy for your success, they don't belong in your circle. So how do you handle secret saboteurs? Watch their reaction to your success. A real friend will celebrate your wins, not make excuses for why they don't matter. Ignore their doubts. Just because they don't believe in you doesn't mean you shouldn't believe in yourself. Surround yourself with growth-minded people. If someone constantly holds you back, it might be time to move forward without them. Because here's the harsh truth, some people would rather keep you weak than level up with you. And if that's not bad enough, the next type of person isn't just toxic. They're outright dangerous. They don't just sabotage your success. They manipulate your reality. And once they get inside your head, they make you question everything. 8. The gaslighter. Some people don't just lie to you. They make you doubt your own reality. This is the person who twists every situation to make you feel crazy. They gaslight you into questioning everything you believe, everything you know, and even your own perception of events. They don't just deceive, they manipulate your thoughts, your memories, and your sense of self. You've probably dealt with them before, the person who denies something they said just moments ago, who convinces you that you misunderstood. The person who takes your emotions and uses them against you, making you feel guilty for being upset about something that should upset you. They will smile in your face, tell you everything is fine, and then, when you bring up an issue, they'll act like you're overreacting, imagining things, or being too sensitive. They'll make you feel like you're the problem for having emotions or expressing concerns. They twist your words, rewrite history, and then look at you like you're the one who's lost touch with reality. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation. It's a tactic used by people who crave control and power over others. By making you doubt your own mind, they ensure you remain vulnerable to their influence. They do it because it works. Gaslighters prey on your need for validation and your desire to keep the peace. They know that if they can make you question your own perceptions, they can control your actions, thoughts, and emotions. It's like being trapped in a maze of confusion. No matter which way you turn, you can't find the way out because they keep changing the path. Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." But when you're being gaslighted, your reactions become manipulated. Your emotional responses are twisted into something wrong or irrational, making it harder to trust yourself. The Stoic path is one of clarity and self-trust. Gaslighters take that away from you. They destroy your ability to trust your own instincts. So how do you deal with a gaslighter? Trust your reality. If you remember something clearly and someone tells you it didn't happen that way, trust your perception. You don't need their validation. Set boundaries. Gaslighters thrive when they can twist the truth. By setting clear boundaries and refusing to engage in their mind games, you take back control. Distance yourself. The longer you stay in a relationship with a gaslighter, the more they will erode your sense of self. The only way to win is to leave. Because in the end, when someone tries to make you doubt your own mind, they're not just attacking your thoughts, they're attacking your very identity. And the longer you let them stay, the harder it will be to reclaim that sense of self. But if you think gaslighting is bad, wait until you meet the next person. They don't just manipulate your mind, they manipulate your whole life. 9. The energy vampire. Some people don't just take your time or your resources, they take your soul. You know them when you meet them. The person who enters the room, and suddenly, it feels like all the energy is drained out of the space. The one who leaves you feeling mentally exhausted, emotionally drained, and physically tired, even though you've done nothing but talk. They suck the life out of you, one conversation at a time. They don't need help, they need an audience. They need someone to listen to their endless problems, their complaints, their negativity. They need to unload their emotional baggage, and they expect you to carry it for them. They don't care about solutions, they don't want to improve. All they want is someone to listen, someone to empathize, someone to feel sorry for them. And the moment you stop, the moment you try to protect your energy, they'll accuse you of being uncaring or unsupportive. But here's the truth, they don't want help, they want attention. These people keep going in circles with their struggles. They repeat the same patterns, the same toxic behaviors, but they refuse to make any real changes. And when you offer help, when you suggest ways they could improve their situation, they dismiss it. They reject your advice, they shut you down. Why? Because they don't want to change. They just want you to sit in their misery with them. Energy vampires are often people who feel powerless in their own lives. They lack control, direction, or purpose. And instead of taking ownership of their lives and actively working on making things better, they look for someone to project their frustrations onto. They thrive on your empathy because it gives them temporary relief from their emotional chaos. But that relief never lasts, and they're always back at your door, looking for the next fix. They'll never ask for solutions because they aren't interested in solving their problems. What they need is a constant emotional crutch, and that crutch is you. If you've ever felt completely drained after spending time with someone, it's probably because they're an energy vampire. They don't just take your time, they take your emotional reserves, your joy, and your peace. And the worst part? The more you give, the more they take. You might notice it in the friend who always calls when things are wrong but is nowhere to be found when things are going right. The colleague who always wants to vent but never listens when you need a break. The family member who makes you feel guilty for having a life outside of their drama. These people are a one-way street. You give and give, but they never give back. They don't care about your well-being. They only care about their own. And because they've trained you to feel responsible for their emotional state, they'll manipulate you into believing it's your job to keep them afloat. Seneca reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." But these energy vampires are never in control of themselves. They are slaves to their emotions and their circumstances, and by pulling you into their drama, they make you a slave too. They steal your peace, your happiness, and your time, and they do it with a smile. True freedom comes from detaching from the emotional chaos of others. It's not about being heartless. It's about recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't help others if you're constantly drained yourself. And the longer you allow an energy vampire into your life, the less energy you have left for your own growth and happiness. So how do you protect yourself from energy vampires? Set strong boundaries. Let them know you can't be available for every emotional meltdown. If they need help, encourage them to seek professional guidance or work on their own issues. Limit your exposure. If someone consistently drains your energy without offering anything in return, it's time to take a step back. Guard your emotions. Don't let their negativity consume you. Recognize that their emotional state is their responsibility, not yours. Because the truth is, if you keep letting these people feed off your energy, you'll find yourself running on empty. And eventually, you'll have nothing left to give, not just to them, but to yourself. Now, the next type of person doesn't just drain your energy. They take your sense of security and stability. They prey on your fears, twist your vulnerabilities, and use your trust as a weapon against you. These are the people who secretly thrive on your weakness and secretly hope you fail, and they will stop at nothing to see you fall. Let's explore who they are. 10. The toxic dependence. Some people don't just want your help. They want to own it. They seek to make you their emotional anchor, but their dependence on you isn't about mutual support. It's about control. They want you to be the one constant in their chaotic lives, to be the source of their stability, their sense of self-worth, and their emotional security. And the moment you try to let go, they tighten their grip. It's subtle at first. They come to you for advice and you give it. They ask for a favor and you gladly oblige. But then it doesn't stop. They keep coming back again and again with more and more requests. And each time they make you feel responsible for their well-being. You might recognize this type in the person who always relies on you to help them with their decisions. The friend who can't make a choice without consulting you. The partner who depends on you to manage their emotions, their schedule, their life. The family member who turns to you for everything, making you their one and only source of comfort and guidance. It feels good at first, being needed. It feels validating to know that someone depends on you. But over time, this kind of dependence isn't about helping them anymore. It's about owning you. People who are dependent in this toxic way often suffer from deep insecurities. They lack the internal resources to solve their own problems, and instead of seeking growth, they look for a crutch, someone to carry them. But what's dangerous about this kind of dependence is that it shifts the dynamic. Instead of a healthy relationship where both parties grow and support each other, you become their emotional caretaker. And if you ever try to withdraw or stop helping, you're met with resistance, guilt, and manipulation. Their dependence isn't just emotional, it's psychological. They rely on your constant support to feel worthy, to feel validated. And if you pull away, they'll make you feel like you're abandoning them, like you're selfish for taking care of yourself. And what they don't realize is that this constant reliance on someone else's energy will eventually drain you to the point where you're unable to help them, or yourself. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. When someone tries to make you their emotional slave, the best way to fight back is by refusing to become that person. You don't owe anyone your energy, your time, or your sense of peace. And if you let someone create a pattern of dependency, you're enabling them to never grow beyond their weaknesses. True strength comes from self-reliance. It comes from being the master of your own mind and emotions, not relying on someone else to fill the gaps you refuse to address in your own life. When you allow someone to become dependent on you in this toxic way, you're robbing them of their own growth. And ultimately, you're setting yourself up for emotional exhaustion. So how do you break free from toxic dependence? Establish healthy boundaries. Make it clear that you can't be their emotional caretaker. Teach them how to rely on themselves. Encourage independence. If someone constantly seeks your guidance, offer suggestions but don't solve their problems for them. Let them find their own solutions. Protect your energy. Your well-being comes first. Be selective about where you invest your time and emotions. Helping someone doesn't mean sacrificing your own peace and happiness. Because here's the harsh reality. As long as you keep enabling toxic dependence, you're not helping them. You're keeping them from learning how to stand on their own. And when you stop doing that, they'll not only resent you, but they'll blame you for their inability to live independently. Conclusion. We've reached the end of our journey through the 10 types of people you should stop helping. Each one has its own unique way of draining your time, energy, and emotional reserves. But more importantly, each of them is a lesson in understanding the importance of boundaries. In life, we often feel obligated to help those around us, to give of ourselves until we're empty. But true kindness doesn't mean pouring from an empty cup. True wisdom lies in knowing who deserves your energy and when to say no. It's important to recognize when your help is no longer serving the other person, and when it's simply enabling their behavior. The people who refuse to grow, the ones who manipulate, the ones who pretend to care but only want to control you, all of them are teaching us valuable lessons in self-preservation and the importance of maintaining our peace. Remember, Stoicism teaches us that our thoughts and actions are within our control, but the actions and behaviors of others are not. You cannot force someone to change, to appreciate your help, or to take responsibility for their own growth. It's not your job to fix anyone, and sometimes walking away is the most helpful thing you can do. Now reflect on the relationships in your life. Are you spending your time and energy on people who truly appreciate and value you? Or are you enabling toxic behaviors, allowing people to drain you without ever giving anything in return? Think about the lessons we've discussed today. It's time to make a change. It's time to stop enabling destructive patterns. It's time to prioritize your own peace, well-being, and growth. Because by choosing who you help wisely, you're also choosing who you become. So I want to hear from you. What changes will you make in your relationships starting today? Have you identified any people who fall into these categories? If so, it's time to set some boundaries. If you're ready to stop wasting your energy on the wrong people, comment below with, "I choose my peace." And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There are more lessons like this waiting for you, and I'm here to help you live a life of clarity, strength, and true freedom. Remember, your energy is precious, protect it, and only give it to those who deserve it. Keep choosing your path, because you are the one in control of your journey.